Well, it is time now to implement the store method. The store method is used to create new instances of users. When we want to call the store method, we need to perform a post HTTP request directly to the user's endpoint. We need to take into account several restrictions for the creation of a user. The first one is that we need to be sure that we are receiving all the possible values that we need. It means the name, the email, and the password. Additionally, we need to be sure that the email is a valid email and is a unique email. It means that no other user has that specific email. And for the password, we need to be sure that the password is confirmed. It means that the user already sent 2 times the same password to be sure that he is writing the right password, and a minimum length of 6 characters. Additionally of this, you can remember that the user has a verified field, a verification token, and another admin field. So if we are going to use the massive assignment, we need to be very careful to substitute any possible value that we receive directly from the request for that specific values. Let's see what we are talking about. In our store method, so we need to validate the inputs, so we need to use some rules. We have that the name is required, that the email is required, must be a valid email format, and must be unique in the user's table. And finally, that the password is required as well, must have a minimum length of 6 characters, and must be confirmed. So after we have the rules, we just need to validate our request that we fortunately already received by dependencies injection inside the method. So we need to use a validate method sending the request and the rules. So if the validation fails, Laravel is going to throw an exception, and we need to handle that exception, but we are going to do that in a future class. By now, we just need to be sure that if this fails, it is not going to pass this line. So after here, we can be sure that we already received an email, a name, and a password. Let's obtain all the data that we received from the request. And we need to do several things. The first, we need to encrypt the user password based on the value that we received. So we just obtained the password field from the request and use the bcrypt method to encrypt correspondingly this password. Then we need to assign the verified status for this new user that is going to be by default not verified user. Then we need to assign a verification token in order to provide a way to, of course, verify the account. Then, by default, all the users are going to be regular users, not admin ones. So now, with that data, we can create assigning massively all the fields for the user. The create method receives an array with every field that we want to assign for that specific user. So after that, we have a completely filled user instance, so we just need to return that. I know that those lines are going to be repeated every time that we want to return a response, but we are going to see how to generalize that functionalities in the next sections. So for now, let's use it in this way, and we are going to see the benefits or generalize our code. So we just need to return the user. In this case, we are going to return a 201 response, meaning data has been created. So you may be asking, why are we doing this directly? Well, it is because we are doing a massive assignment, and if for some reason the user or the client sends a verified field in the request and we do not replace this, it means that the user can send whatever that he wants and, for example, create a user already verified. So we need to be sure to replace this value in the case of the user send it. And of course, if the user doesn't send that, so we just need to add this equally. So let's see how it is working. We need to create a user, so we need to send a post request. And in the body here, we need to send a name, a valid email, a password, the password confirmation, and that's all that we want to send. So we can see that the user has been created with ID 201 and the code response is 201. And if we try to send a new request to create a new user, sending the verify and the admin values, and of course with a different email to don't fail, we can see that equally the admin is still be false and the verified is still being 0. So it is working properly as expected. And now what happens if we fail any restriction? For example, we don't send a valid email. So for now, it is going to return a not found HTTP exception because Laravel is trying to perform a redirection. So we are going to change that behavior in a future class, of course, but we can be sure now that it is working properly with the validation stuff, and we just need to format the response in the right way in the future classes. So we are done now with the store method for the user controller. See you in the next class.